Hi friends, welcome back. Let's discuss today on professional ethics, the simplified version of professional responsibilities, professional ethics, and brief question answers and the end. And just to understand what is this professional ethics is all about, because this subject has been set as audit course in many of the graduate and postgraduate courses. So it's an iota of attempt from my side to basically induce the rudiments of professional ethics to all the student community who are pursuing this audit course on professional ethics. Let's understand what is this professional ethics. Professional ethics encompass the personal and corporate standards of behavior expected of professionals. Professionals and those working in acknowledged professions exercise specialist knowledge and skill. How to use of this knowledge should be governed when providing a service to the public, which can be considered a moral issue and is termed professional ethics. It is capable of making judgments, applying their skills, and reaching informed decisions in situations that the general public cannot, because they have not attained the necessary knowledge and skills. One of the earliest examples of professional ethics is the Hippocratic Oath, to which medical doctors still adhere to this day. And if you want to have a very broad idea of this professional ethics, let's understand that if we possess professional values and ethics. So an ethical person should understand and respect other professionals. That is the one of the attributes. Then he should uphold professional integrity of his profession. Then he or she should have the self-regulation of the values, and he should be accountable for our own actions. Then understand the roles and responsibilities of that particular profession. So an ethical person is governed by these 5 principles. Then if you see further, the core values of any profession is like, you have to be a reliable partner in the organization, because ultimately your integrity matters in building the teamwork. And for this, you should have enough innovation that is embedded in your profession, in your way of working, which will have continuous improvement. And with this, you will continuously build the relationships. So once you build the relationships, you will be a reliable partner. And so all these 6 core values are really very, very important whenever we are able to demonstrate the professional ethics in any profession that we will be doing. Then this is an example of, compared to their legal profession, what are the professional ethics and character of a legal profession? There is always a code of conduct knowledge, basically to understand where and how the rules that governs lawyers' work, and your own ethical obligations and responsibilities of the profession. This is the code that is normally available. Then if you see the character and professional responsibility, you should be acting honestly, fairly, and with fair degree of integrity with your clients, colleagues, courts, tribunals, and the public. And that's the character and your professional responsibility. When it comes to the professional ethics of a legal profession, you should be able to identify, analyze, and make the right decision regarding ethical issues. You have to be complying with your own fiduciary duties, avoiding conflicts, and protecting confidence. So this will give you, this is an example of the professional ethics of particular legal profession. Then, these are all the, if you see the ethical values, core values of any profession, you have host of things. You literally say any value, everything you have this. That's the tree of professional ethics, we call it as. We call it as responsibility, character, persistence, patience, encouragement, inspiration to others, peace in the working, parenting to your clients and junior people, civic sense, gratitude, confidence, justice, sportsmanship, compassion, humility, service, attitude, relationship, hope, innovation, sharing, courage, purpose, sacrifice, love for animals, and dedication, respect, cleanliness, equality, integrity, forgiveness, giving, friendship, leadership, unity, learning, patriotism, achievement, and responsibility. So all these are basically every attribute, every character, every factor, has its own value in shaping up a person into a professional ethics or professional. This is what we normally call it as a tree of ethics. So literally you have, if most of the people, if you possess these qualities, definitely you are considered to be the best person with professional ethics. Then let's see the components of this professional ethic. You have some professional organizations may define their ethical approach in terms of a number of discrete components. Typically, these include honesty, trustworthiness, transparency, accountability, confidentiality, objectivity, respect, obedience to the law, and the loyalty. So these are all the typical components of professional ethics. If you see the implementation part of it, most professionals have internally enforced codes of practice that members of the profession must follow to prevent exploitation of the client and to preserve the integrity and reputation of the profession. This is not only for the benefit of the client, but also for the benefit of those belonging to that profession. Disciplinary codes allow the profession to define a standard of conduct and ensure that individual practitioners meet these standards by disciplining them from the professional body if they do not practice accordingly. This allows those professionals who act with a conscience to practice in the knowledge that they will not be undermined commercially by those who have fewer ethical qualms. It also maintains the public's trust in the profession, encouraging the public to continue seeking their services. Then we have internal regulation, whatever an individual should have. In cases where professional bodies regulate their own ethics, there are possibilities for such bodies to become self-serving and fail to follow their own ethical code when dealing with renegade members. This is particularly true of professions in which they have almost a complete monopoly on a particular area of knowledge. For example, until recently, the English courts deferred the professional consensus on matters relating to their practice that lay outside the court of law and legislation. Then let's see the secondary regulation is another term which we need to understand. In many countries, there is some statutory regulation of professional ethical standards, such as the statutory bodies that regulate nursing and midwifery in England and Wales. Because failure to comply with these standards can thus become a matter of courts, basically. If you see the examples, a lay member of the public should not be held responsible for failing to act to save a car crash victim because they could not give an appropriate emergency treatment, though they are responsible for attempting to help for the victim. This is because they do not have the relevant knowledge and experience. In contrast, a fully trained doctor with the current equipment would be capable of making the correct diagnosis and carrying out appropriate procedures. Failure of a doctor to help at all in such situation would generally be regarded as negligent and unethical. The second example is a business may approach a professional engineer to certify the safety of a project, which is not safe. While one engineer may refuse to certify the project on moral grounds, the business may find a less scrupulous engineer who will be prepared to certify the project for a bribe, thus saving the business the expose of redesigning. Then we have the student ethics. As attending college after high school graduation becomes a standard in the lives of young people, colleagues and colleges and universities are becoming more business-like in their expectations of the students. Although people have differing opinions about its effective, surveys state that it is the overall goal of the university administrators. Setting up the business-like atmosphere helps students get adjusted from a more relaxed nature, like high school, towards what will be expected of them in the business world upon graduating from the college. So in a way, the colleges and universities should develop the business acumen in the students while they are studying in the colleges. That will also become related to student ethics. Then we have the professional ethics. which are the principles that govern the behavior of a person or group in a business environment. Like values, professional ethics provide rules on how a person should act toward other people and institutions in such an environment. Unlike values, professional ethics are often codified as a set of rules which a particular group of people use, which means that all those in a particular group will use the same professional ethics, even though their values may be unique to each person. Then we have ethical principles. If you see the ethical principles, they underpin all professional codes of conduct. Ethical principles may differ depending on the profession. For example, professional ethics that relate to medical practitioners will differ from those that relate to lawyers or real estate agents. However, there are some universal ethical principles that apply across all professions, which include honesty, trustworthiness, loyalty, respect for others, adherence to law, doing good and avoiding harm to others, and finally, the accountability. Then we have the codes of conduct. What are the benefits of the code of conduct, professional codes of conduct, if you see? And these codes of conduct draw on these professional ethical principles as the basis for prescribing required standards of behavior for members of a profession. They also seek to set out the expectations that the profession and society have to its members. The intention of codes of conduct is to provide guidelines for the minimum standard of appropriate behavior in a professional context. Codes of conduct sit alongside the general law of the land and the personal values of members of the profession. Professional codes of conduct provide benefits to the public as they build confidence in the profession's trustworthiness, the clients as they provide greater transparency and certainty about how their affairs will be handled, to the members of the profession as they provide a supporting framework for resisting pressure to act inappropriately and for making acceptable decisions in what may be gray areas, the profession as a whole to provide a common understanding of acceptable practice which builds collegiality and allows for fairer discipline procedures, and others dealing with the profession as the profession will be seen as more reliable and easier to deal with. So these are all the benefits of code of conduct. Then we have business ethics. We also call it as corporate ethics, which is a form of applied ethics or professional ethics that examines ethical principles and moral or ethical problems that can arise in a business environment. It applies to all aspects of business conduct and is relevant to the conduct of individuals and entire organizations. These ethics originate from individuals, organizational statements, or the legal system. These norms, values, ethical and unethical practices are the principles that guide any business. Business ethics refers to contemporary organizational standards, principles, or sets of values and norms that govern the actions and behavior of an individual in the business organizations. Business ethics have two dimensions: normative business ethics or descriptive business ethics. As a corporate practice and a career specialization, the field is primarily normative. Academics attempting to understand business behavior employ descriptive methods. The range and quantity of business ethical issues reflects the interaction of profit maximizing behavior with non-economic concerns. Then if you see the medical ethics, which is an applied branch of ethics which analyzes the practice of clinical medicine and related scientific research. Medical ethics is based on a set of values that professionals can refer to in the case of any confusion or conflict. These values include the respect for autonomy, non-malevolence, beneficence, and justice. Such tenets may allow doctors or care providers and families to create a treatment plan and work towards the same common goal. It is important to note that these four values are not ranked in order of importance or relevance, and they all encompass values pertaining to medical ethics. Medical ethics is particularly relevant in decisions regarding involuntary treatment and involuntary commitment. Then we have the nursing ethics, which is a branch of applied ethics that concerns itself with activities in the field of nursing. Nursing ethics shares many principles with medical ethics, such as the beneficence, non-maleficence, and respect for autonomy. It can be distinguished by its emphasis on relationships, human dignity, and collaborative care. The nature of nursing means that nursing ethics tends to examine the ethics of caring rather than curing by exploring the everyday interaction between the nurse and the person in care. Early work to define ethics in nursing focused more on virtues that would make a good nurse, which historically included loyalty to the physician, rather than the focus on being nurse's conduct in relation to the persons in the nurse's care. In recent times, the ethics of nursing has also shifted more towards the nurse's obligation to respect the human rights and dignity of the patient, and this is reflected in a number of professional codes of nurses, such as in the latest code from the International Council of Nurses. Then we have the engineering ethics, which is the field of system of moral principles that apply to the practice of engineering. The field examines and sets obligations by engineers to society, to their clients, and to the profession. As a scholarly discipline, it is closely related to subjects such as the philosophy of science and the philosophy of engineering and the ethics of technology. As engineering rose as a distinct profession during the 19th century, engineers saw themselves as either independent professional practitioners or technical employees of large enterprises. There was considerable tension between the two sides as large industrial employers fought to maintain control of their employees. That's how the engineering ethics have come into picture. Then we have legal ethics, which are principles of conduct that members of the legal profession are expected to observe in their practice. They are an outgrowth of the development of the legal profession itself. In India, under the Advocates Act of 1961, the Bar Council of India is responsible for creating rules for registering advocates, regulation of legal ethics, and for administering disciplinary action. In India, a legal firm named Legal Ethics in the website www.legalethics.in, which provides legal awareness for people who need it because of innocence. Then we have the professional responsibility, which is a set of duties within the concept of professional ethics for those who exercise a unique set of knowledge and skill as professionals. Professional responsibility applies to the professionals making judgments, applying their unique skills, and reaching informed decisions for or on behalf of others as professionals. Professionals must be seen to exercise due care and responsibility in their areas of specialization known as professions. What makes professionals unique is the general public would not ordinarily be expected to know in detail the skills and knowledge of a profession independently. In a modern context, professional responsibility encompasses an array of the personal, corporate, and humanitarian standards of behavior as expected by clients, fellow professionals, and professional bodies. Then there are 5 basic principles of ethics. If we see, these are all the integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, professional behavior. These are all the revised code which establishes a conceptual framework for all the professional accountants to ensure compliance with 5 fundamental principles of ethics. This is exactly for 5 basic professional ethics for accounting professionals. Then if you see what is the importance of, there are 3 types of ethics which we normally call it as normative ethics, meta ethics, and applied ethics. You see the importance of professional ethics. If we want to know, then the professional ethics is important because it dictates to professionals a series of rules related to the way professional acts towards the people with whom he or she relates professionally. From a philosophical point of view, ethics has to do with morality and with the way people act in the sense of goodness or badness. Then if you see what are the 3 core values of professionalism, The core values of workplace professionalism is professional dress. Dressing well shows you professionalism by increasing your self-confidence and creating memorable first impressions. That is, we normally call it as use proper workplace etiquette. Then be punctual, be organized, and show your dedication to your job. That's the three core values of professionalism. And then if you want to know what are the three golden rules of ethics, do good to others as you would like to good to be done to you. Regard bad for yourself, whatever you regard bad for others. Accept that treatment from others which you would like others to accept from you. Do not say to others what you do not like to be said to you. And these are all the golden rules of ethics in the end. Once again, do good to others as you would like to as you would like good to be done to you. And then regard bad for yourself, whatever you regard bad for others. And accept that treatment from others which you would like others to accept from you. And do not say to others what you do not like to be said to you. And these are all the important golden rules of ethics, which should be understood for a professional ethics. So that's all about the professional ethics. Hope you have enjoyed this session. This is just an attempt to give you a rudiments of professional ethics, because this has been the most commonly audit course, decided audit course for graduate and postgraduate students.